Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, world. Terry Tyler here. Decided that today I would try to give you a little something special. Put in a little work for y'all. Y'all have been very great to me. And the country, I have to say, I've about never been prouder of my country. And, this morning I went to the Tupelo court in historic Tupelo, Mississippi, and a couple good fellers down there, a couple good people. They're running the motivation program now, and Mr. Johnny there, he's been the man over the work program for a while, and I've had a few brushes with the laws where I caught my first charge in Tupelo, Mississippi when I was about 18 years old, and that was about 13 years ago. And I get a few minor infractions every now and then, and it's not good to get those infractions, but my perspective of the legal system has changed, and I kind of got a renewed sense of faith in the system today, and the Trump era, the economy, and then 2020. It's a magical period here in America, and I wanted to share something one of my mentors shared with me, and then I'll share you some of what Mr. Johnnie and Mr. Knight talked about today down there at the Tupelo City Municipal Court. And you can see, like I said, that's the proof. The construction is booming, the economy's roaring, and I really do credit Trump. We're going on the third year, and things are looking pretty good. I didn't expect to see it like this personally, but it is looking pretty good. So I decided from the booze tube we'd try to give you a little motivation this morning. And one of my mentors told me, he said, you can be the source of the light. Light is the source, kind of like that sun way up there. And if you may not have a lot of light within yourself, but you can reflect that light. When I was really down and out, really, really spiritually and mentally depraved, which I believe is, I think they went about it all wrong. A lot of people do. It's a holistic, it's a whole community, it's a whole government. As a whole, it takes a community. They say it takes a tribe to raise a child, something like that. But they were hard. And after a while, they will push you to the breaking point. But it's all about attitude, and in this case, I think I've garnished, some light. I say, you've seen the stickers say master. I wouldn't say master, but I say that in a sense to stimulate people, to inspire them to try to be masters, and not in a domineering way, but to grow. But what Mr. Johnny touched on this morning was consistency. And I was fired off of the work program, unfortunately, from which I had a pretty good track record, great track record, up there with those guys for drinking on the job. And we're not going to go into the details of that, but for me, rehabilitation begins inside. It's an inside job. After a while, the way I had been treated, I was angry at the system, and after a while I had to sit, and everyone has to come to their own conclusion about things. And the shame, when people show you love, I feel like it's not necessarily shaming, but, not to get all gospel-y, those who read the good book, it says, the Lord chastiseth those that are cared about. So, you have to take the whipping. You have to go into the crucible. You have to go into the fire a lot of times. And if you don't, let me tell you this. I see it more commonly, unfortunately, in a lot of people that are doing better. They aren't necessarily in the fire. They may think that they're missing out on life. They're not engaging in the camaraderie and the, whatever the feel is that lures them in to debauchery or drugs and alcohol. I don't say there's anything wrong with that to a degree. But clean it up, in my opinion. Clean it up a little bit. What Mr. Johnny said, he told a story of 4 seasons and a man that had 4 sons. And he sent those sons to look at a tree, each one at a different season. And each son came back with a different report. And for those that had just seen the tree, sometimes they thought it was doing great. Sometimes they thought it was doing poorly, but it was the whole lifestyle of the tree, which is many seasons. Many different seasons in that. And like I said, there's a lot of great mentors out there, like Dr. Mike Murdoch, but he does the Bible stuff. And you see, I touch on a bit of it, but with this channel, I just want to clarify a few things moving forward, since we are in the digital age, and this is one thing that I've been fighting for, is, of course, digital rights and the ability to earn money, and also the confidence that you can get and the leadership skills that you can get from gumming out and creating a brand. And I will tell you this, it's a hell of a ride. You learn a lot about yourself, and like they said, look at it in seasons. I went to CMCF State Penitentiary, Rankin County, and I met the helicopter man. I want to say his name is Ben Malone, and it's sad to say it, but I honestly believed there would be a helicopter down there. It goes to show how much I knew about life, and let me tell you, there ain't no helicopter ride down there. There's a man. You get fitted out in a yellow jumpsuit. All your hair, you can forget about it. All your clothes, your watches, your jewelry, everything, forget about it. It all gets burned when you come in for processing. You get naked. You get in scalding showers. You get fingerprinted. You get processed. And you get run through, the machine, the beast, as they might say. the inside, and it if you don't have to go there, don't go there. But one thing I like to see is a lot of those guys coming back out, and I see them. I've been one of those guys, and or gals, a lot of ladies, they get jammed up in that, and you got to take the beating, but you got to let it make you. Don't let it break you. You got to let it make you. You can't let it break you. You got to look at it like that. And I think between the two of those gentlemen, I don't recall what was said. Pretty much was, what are you doing? They've got some good judges up there too. Judge 400 is a good judge. You'll see him up there. Judge Weir, and I call Judge 400. That is he's implemented a new thing, and it's not Judge Weir. You gotta let me think about it real quick. Like I said, you got to go up to the courthouse and see these guys and ladies. There's a lot of ladies. I don't know them all. But what I've seen is between the two judges, and there's more judges than that. I haven't seen them all. And let me tell you what, honestly, you don't really want to see them. But he implemented a payment system, and I think it was merit-based, and I think that he might have caught some flack on it, but I liked him, and I think they do a great job, and it's a community effort. I think as much as you can push somebody down the wrong way, you can push them in the right way, and it's kind of like classical conditioning. The psychological aspects of it is, I hate to say it like this, but, kind of treat yourself like a robot. If you're listening to me now, I don't want to give all the light away, but I'd like to tell you about an amazing man that's really changed my life. His name is David Malin, and he runs a course called CS50, who I met through some very beautiful people at my lowest point. And everybody asks about my hair and how it's gotten this way, and it's one of those things I want to touch up with you on through this. It's a commitment. I didn't want to cut that hair until I passed that course. And or until maybe I got in the military or I went to prison, or they're going to shave it off anyway. So I've been kind of in a stand your ground mode where I did the Johnny pot seed. I still do the Johnny pot seed. I'm not as active because of the social media fighting, but I really want to stand for the drugs. I know a lot of people hate me for that, but I stand for the tradition and the heritage and the freedom that comes with controlled use of controlled substances. And it's a fight. The war on drugs. Everybody's talking about the war on drugs, and it's been a war. And I think it's a war worth fighting, and I think people really taking a closer look at these drugs and coming up with something great. Like I said, 2020. I'm not going to let you in on any too many secrets, but I have been in touch with some great Mississippi people. We've got you know, Tate Reeves is in, Senator Roger Wicker, Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. What do we got? Try to think. Trent Kelly is a representative. There's like 4 districts. Again, please forgive me if I don't remember all your names. It's you know, a guy like me is pretty much a burnout, and but for the grace of God and probably a little bit of the devil and good Americans and the soul, if I didn't see in the environment that there were good people and that things did have a hope of getting great, you know, it'd have been a self-checkout. I just wasn't really much interested in it, and you know, we had great leadership in the White House, still do. You know, never quit, never give up. Think big and kick ass, and you know, you get demoralized after a while, and you know, a lot of guys, you know, they can be warped. I see a lot of people, they can be coerced into committing crimes or admitting to crimes that they didn't commit, or all types of weird mental trickery you can employ, and you know, being a byproduct of those of the bad days. I don't want to mention any names, but you know, back then they really did kind of force the pills on you as a kid, and they really made a lot of money off the backs of taxpayers. And you know, I kind of felt like an experiment. I felt like I was really used, and at the same time, though, that's why the Social Security program, I'm wanting to work with some people. I think we got Lieutenant Governor, Delbert Hosemann. I remember Delbert, I believe it's Delbert, with his work as the Secretary of State's office. Mississippi was one of the first in the country, if not the first, to have a great ArcGIS system, a mapping system that really displays your demographics in a way that's, you know, I thought it was nice for businesses. I'm that kind of guy. I really like maps and stuff, and I thought that it was a beautiful thing, and I just like keeping Mississippi beautiful and keeping Mississippi great, and at the same time making it great again as well, because I saw people like that today. And also down there at the Nettleton Faith Food Pantry, I went down there and volunteered a little bit, and you know, picked up a little trash and said hi and happy Thanksgiving. And you see the real heroes, you might say, that, you know, without them, I think the world would be a much darker place. And it's going to take, I felt like there was a lot of people there today, and with the right funding and the right efforts of people like us, you know, we can write America's history in a much more positive way. And I think that, you know, some of my content is pretty dark, and I want y'all to know I'm going through a transition, and I'll give you the shirt off my back, but I've got to maintain some of this for branding, number one. Number two, it's commitment to the agenda. You know, I don't want to just close doors on and give up on some of the projects that we've already really tried to push. You know, particularly the Johnny pot seed and the marijuana legalization. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but the lottery's coming out. They're already getting things equipped for the state lottery. And I was back in a lot of these areas when they were dry counties, and they went to wet counties. And, you know, I've made some snide remarks in the past. You got to try to take them with a grain of salt. But You know, looking at it through here as I see an area of opportunity, but I don't want to leave a lot of the people behind. For example, you know, we talk about marijuana legalization, which is one thing I'm interested in, among other drugs. You know, I see a lot of drugs out there. I don't know what they all are, but, you know, I'm ahead, and I try to be ahead and a gentleman as well, and I don't want to slam the door on people's right to try and their right to over their bodies and their minds, and possibly the benefits. You know, before, you know, they said it would take 20, 30 years. You know, they had to go overseas. People were flying all over the world to get access to some of this stuff, and Trump signed it into action. And you're going to see this, God willing, devil willing. I'm going to be out here on this very channel as part of my duty. Some of it, like I said, it can be risky going into these places. You can really step on toes and commit crimes you didn't know you commit. But they're supposed to start rolling out this program, and there's not a whole lot of people that have done it. So I've tried a little bit. I've beat around the bush, but I'm trying to get a little loot in. Like I said, I got to take a walk all the way down here just to get my internet. But I'll leave you with this because I'm almost to my destination. One of my greatest mentors taught me attitude is altitude. And it's the hardest thing to get when you're feeling really low. But the attitude really means a lot, and that's, you know, I'm a firm believer in drugs. I hate to say some drugs. Some people they could benefit off entheogens and empathogens and different types of drugs that I think can mitigate a lot of the effects of, you know, pretty much anything. You know, we're heading into a more technologically advanced and digitally advanced society, and I want to see a drug usage or certain controlled substances, you know, kind of treated like firearms. I don't want them banned, you know. I don't want them to take the drugs, and I don't want them to take the guns. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but whether you choose to admit it or not, you know, everybody's on drugs to a degree. And some drugs are better than others. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. You know, I know I've heard of a couple of ladies, you know, they were good friends, but one doesn't like hanging out with the other. One of them's a drunk, one of them's a tweaker. Tweakers don't like hanging around with drunks, and drunks don't like hanging around with tweakers. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And when you get into those little cultures like that, you know, some of the things I've seen and the memories were just, they were terrifying. They'll put the fear of God in you, and a part of me doesn't want, you know, you don't want to put the little people out, but you got to provide a way for them. So I've seen a lot of people, they get out here with the legal movement, but they're not thinking about agriculture. That's another thing I'm touching up on. I'm wanting to work with Mississippi State. Steal the idea. Steal the idea. I'm a stickler on intellectual property. I try to take it up myself, because intellectual property's got lots of broad degrees. I mean, borrowing music and doing it on mixtapes sometimes is they'll let it ride, and some people, man, they'll let you have the loot. Some people, they'll want full control of the loot, but they'll let you use the song as long as it's your content. And then every once in a while you'll find an asshole and he's going to sue the brakes off you. So, you know, you get out there in the digital arena, you know, it's not all, you know, you're sticking your neck out here. And, but it's something that I felt deserved merit, and I wanted to share that with you. So, with that said, I wish you a best day, a blessed day, a happy day, and try to clean up, try to button up. I'm not saying anybody's dirty or filthy. Look at me, the guy with the hair, but even me, you know, try to, I mean, if you come out in public, wash your hands, you know, try to show a little respect for your people, and I think that will go a long way. And like I said, post 2020, I'm working right now on a PowerPoint. We're going to run this program by some of them. They may add to it, they may take off of it, but if it's worth a damn, you might have a pretty wicked program coming into 2020. Take it easy, y'all.